been a 2-year journey. It started in 2023. I started having health issues. By the time it rolled around to the end of 2024, I basically my body just collapsed. My systems collapsed. I entered into healthcare with three different organizations. The main one was the VA, and they really didn't know what was wrong with me, but they knew my body was shutting down, and they were telling me that you know all indications it could either be my heart, my kidneys, my liver, uh, and so ultimately they settled on liver. And so I entered into. They said I had cirrhosis of the liver, and that I was entered into a liver transplant program at a Tampa General Hospital and the VA. And so I went through the process. They medicate me beyond measure. You know that, Gary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was every day I was in a medical fog. And then I ran into Gary at this. This was one of my bucket list things. I wanted to do this because every doctor told me I was going to die, and they had me on. They had my family come in. They had my wife contact everybody, bring everybody in, and said, "Hey, he's got about a year and a half to go." And then after that, we're just going to put him in hospice and keep him comfortable, and that's going to be end of life. There was no quality of life during that time. You know that. And so
Hold on,
as
Bruce. Hold, excuse me 1 second. They said you were going to die. When you look at your pictures, there's no doubt that you were certainly more out the door than in. And you had said to me back, when this kind of got rolling and turned around, that if you had met me and I said, look, I was just the messenger. That was the grace of God. I don't have that power to do anything.
right,
This turned
right, right.
around through his grace and mercy on you. I'm glad that I happened to be there.
Yeah, well, and that was the providence. I'm a recovering Baptist pastor, so I say that jokingly, but
Jokingly, yeah.
uh, uh, I do not believe anything happens by chance. I think everything has its purpose. And when you were there and you offered that, it took a couple weeks, and eventually I acquiesced because they said I had no other opportunity.
Yeah.
I was going to die, and they were just going to keep me alive long enough until I did. And sure enough, at that Valspar, a month later, I started in on the patches. A month after that, my numbers started to improve. And over the next period of about 3 months, they really began to improve. I was doing paracentesis, which is, it's drawing fluid out of your abdomen because you can't process it, about 8 to 10 liters every 2 weeks. So that was brutal. Well, my numbers began to improve. My paracentesis got to be less and less. And as of October 30th, no more paracentesis. And of now, no more medication. It's all gone. I've lost 100 pounds during that bad period, and now I've gained 64 back. I walked 150 miles last month for a cancer fundraiser. April Walk for Cancer, and it's just been fabulous.
Yeah.
For your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I remember you said that I think it was your brother who said you couldn't die because Joyce was going to kill you.
yeah, she's right here beside me. Yeah, yeah. And this is the really ironic part of this. As I entered into this, to the Patch family, uh, he would call me every day and he would encourage me and encourage me. And he was literally telling me, you can't die. Joyce will kill me. And you know, we joked about it at the time.
Yeah.
Well, then the hurricane hit us, you know, in October, and the big hurricane, Milton. And I was still on a walker. And at that point, and you know, he was constantly calling me and telling me, you know, that he was, you know, wondering how we were doing. So he ended up getting a little bloody nose. And on the day that I ended my last paracentesis, he was diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer. And 7 days later, he died. So I didn't get a chance to put him on the patch.
Oh,
I have a little survivor's guilt about that. And so now every chance I get to tell someone about how important these patches are or how they've been important to me, I'll make sure to do that every time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah.
All right. So I'm going to try to share these photos. So I asked for people's patience. It's Gary, I'm going to let you let people in.
I'm doing that. Yeah.
So I'm going to do this picture first. I'm going to share that. Okay, so let's see.
There we go. Not the picture of perfect health, I would say.
Yeah, not the
That's not even the worst of it.
that was probably not the worst. It was close
No,
to it, but
no.
So tell me what's going on here. Where were you? What's happening? Like, let everybody, like, your story is
well,
mind-blowing.
at this point, I am almost that lazy boy and me were one and the same.
Okay.
I had just melded into that, and that's actually the very lazy boy that I spoke to Gary about to get my to get started on the patches.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can
Okay.
I add in something?
Of course.
Sure, Joyce.
I would have, when I would take him to the hospital for the VA for appointments,
Uh-huh.
I would have to push him in with a wheelchair because he couldn't really walk that far. That was
Wow.
at that point that I would drop him off at the front of the VA, get a wheelchair, and push him through to get him to his appointments.
Wow. And
Yeah,
if I can interrupt,
that's the medications. That's a picture of the medications that I took.
1 day's worth.
Yeah, yeah.
wow.
I'd have to have. I'd
Bruce,
have to have I'd have to have Joyce put those. She got up early in the morning before she went to work, and she would place those in those cups so that I would take them throughout the day because I couldn't remember what medications to take.
Who could?
wow.
Who
Wow.
could with all of those?
Yeah, it's just. I mean, 100. I don't know how much I tell people all the time, Gary. You know, I told you this. I tell people thanks for paying your taxes because the government through the VA has paid an enormous price for my health care.
Oh boy. How
Well,
about that with a picture of
let's talk about this because
Yeah.
Oh,
and those of you who are on, this is very graphic. So if this bothers you, please look the other way. Maybe go get a drink, come back.
that's
But
what I tell
Bruce,
people too.
let's talk about this because this is before you met Gary.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And this was when I have to call my husband in here to come see these.
The CDs it was brutal. Every 2 weeks, I'd have to have that belly drained, and they would take 8 to 10 liters of fluid out of my abdomen. So do the math. About 25 or so pounds of water would be
Oh.
taken out of my belly.
And when you walk, you would leave puddles, right? On the floor.
Well,
Well,
and this was,
that was because of a different situation.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
you know,
Okay. Well, I have
that's why they were concerned. They thought maybe I had congestive heart failure, and so my legs would swell so bad, and there wasn't anywhere for the water to go into my abdomen, so it would just leak out of my legs, and it would go in. I was trying to do physical therapy, and the people at physical therapy said, uh, you can't come in anymore until your legs quit leaking, because I would leave footprints wherever I walked.
Well,
Oh.
the reason why he left footprints is because he had a gash in his leg
Ooh.
that would not heal.
Yeah, wouldn't heal
There
because
we
of
go.
oh
There
yeah.
you go. There's
There's,
the one.
This gives meaning to the term skin and bones
Skin and
and
bones.
Yeah.
death warmed over. Okay.
I laugh to keep from crying, Gary. You
Yeah.
know that.
Oh my goodness. And how many you put on 50 pounds since this picture, right?
60
pounds.
pounds.
All right. Yeah. No more donuts.
They put me on a 3,000 calorie a day. I know it makes people jealous. It made me jealous. It was when we met at the Valspar, I could not physically put a cheeseburger in my mouth. It was so bad. Uh, and then over a period of time, I was eating 6 meals a day.
Wow, good
Now
for
it's
you.
real hard to stop eating 6 meals a day.
Well, you look amazing. I mean, Gary, I mean, Bruce, I mean, the color of your skin and the smile and your eyes. And, you know, I want to say this because Joyce is in the room with you. When you have a spouse going through something like this, I just want to commend Joyce because
Yeah, it was
the
brutal.
support of all of that and the stress and the mixed emotions and all the thing, right, Bruce? Like,
Oh,
you
it was
know,
brutal.
when somebody's in ill health, you know, we sometimes forget about how they're doing. And Joyce, I hope you can hear me. And I know everybody that's on here will feel the same way. You know, God bless you as well, because I know that that was not easy. And what a blessing she is for you, Bruce.
She,
And
she was definitely collateral damage for
yeah,
what I was going through. No doubt about it. Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Uh,
I
uh,
know. And now that we've described where you are, can you guys together or separately, whatever makes you happy, can you share with everybody your life now?
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. We're back, and Joyce tells me almost every day. She says, "I've got my Brucey back."
No. How long have y'all been married?
Uh, here, let me give you a quick little. Maybe Joyce can do this. Uh, we never dated, and
Oh,
and we met at work 23 years
We've
ago.
been married almost 22 years.
awesome.
We never married. We ran off, got married, eloped.
Good for
And
you.
and because we just knew that this was the marriage that was for us, and boy, it sure turned out to be.
Yeah.
It's been a
Right.
long, strange journey, but amazing.
Yeah,
And
and
you guys
now,
live in Tampa, Florida.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. I live in Sarasota. I know Gary's up in Tampa, but he's vacationing right now in the OBX. But wow.
yeah,
Oh,
Gary,
we're
wow.
yeah.
we're real close to all my hospitals.
Yeah.
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 And mine when needed.
Yeah. Well, you got the patches.
Yeah.
Joyce,
I use the
patches on
patches.
you, baby.
I use the patches as well.
Awesome. I love that.
But hold on with Bruce, just so you know, we're talking X39 and Eon for probably what, Bruce, 60, 70, 80% of the time.
Yeah, yes,
And somewhere down the road when, it was in the budget, we added glutathione,
right.
But really, X39 and Eon, if you were to say, I were to say, what changed? It's just those two patches brought about this amazing transformation.
Actually, Gary, remember it was just the Aeon. It was just the Eon patches at
Right,
very first,
right.
because I wanted to try it. And
Yeah.
remember, I got pretty sick, and the reason was, as you described it to me, and I really found it to be true, was it was my body disposing of all of that junk,
Inflammation.
all that medication and all those broken cells and all that stuff, that was in my body. And it was about 3 weeks later when I started the 39s. And boy, it was like throwing gas on the fire.
There you go.
It just it from that point on, that's when my metrics really began to change. And I mean, you can see it. I mean, my doctors can see it, and that's why they've put me in this program where they want to study me. I jokingly say that the VA's put me in a why hasn't Bruce died yet program, and they're wanting to find out what's going on. And we've got some people that are really interested in that, and we're working with them. And
Let me just say that when we were talking today, you got some guy at Tampa General, which is the top rated hospital in Florida. You got
for
a
liver transplant.
liver transplant, and then you have the lady that you put me in touch with today, Dr. Lisa, PhD and whatever, and they're all like, "What are these?" Because they've never heard of it, and they can't believe that you didn't die on them.
Oh yeah, yeah. They just can't believe it.
Yeah.
And so now I'm going through as many tests now to figure out why Bruce ain't dead yet.
Yeah. But you got
That's
something in the
that's
mail today
that's
too, I
amazing.
believe.
Yeah, and you know what? And I told Gary this today. I said, when the Pharisees come to Jesus, or the blind guy, and who had received sight from Jesus, they asked him, "Well, who do you think he is?" He said, "I don't know. I know. Here's what I know. I was blind. I met this guy. He put this little bit of mud on my eyes. I went and washed it off, and now I can see. Once I was blind, now I can see. Once I was dying, and now I'm not." So that's basically my story. It's really simple.